Hello, my name is Price Van Ray. I am a divorced single dad, father of 5 kids. Welcome to my show. Hello and welcome back. It has been a while. I've been doing podcasting for about 3 years now, especially this year's show. And I think it's pretty amazing because a lot of people say how much they love it. They email me, they say, hey, Price, we really enjoy what you're doing. I like the topics. It's great that a single divorced dad can take time and talk about stuff like this. So today I'm going to be talking about who am I? A lot of people are wondering, who exactly are you, though? What's your past and present? Where are you going in the future? Well, I'm going to tell you on this show today. So before I get to that, I'm going to talk about the thought of the day. A cloud can show many pictures, though it can only be seen with the imagination. Now, what does that mean? It means when you look at a cloud, if you open your mind and your eyes, you can see so many pictures. I remember when I was a kid, I would sit on the side of a hill and I would stare up at the clouds and I'd say, oh, look what I see. I see a dog, I see a puppy, I see a bear. I see so many things with the imagination. It is incredible. Kids can do the same thing because kids have an active imagination. And I know when I was a kid, my imagination was so active. I'd see things everywhere. See things in the dark. I'd see things in your imagination. It's just amazing. So we never want to stagnate a child. And we always want to encourage them, hey, look at the clouds and do you see any pictures? Nowadays, we have social media, so people are seeing a lot of things in the clouds. I mean, I don't know if it's Photoshop, but this is taking it to another whole new level. I remember watching one of the social media sites, the videos, and somebody caught on video an angel in the clouds. It looked real. It did look real. But you don't know if it's Photoshopped or not. I don't know. But I like to see things. That's taking things a little bit over the edge. I'm talking when you see a cloud and it looks like, a teddy bear or something like that. I actually saw something on social media where it looked like a bunch of soldiers holding a rifle. That was amazing. I don't think that was Photoshopped. Somebody was just driving in their car and they took a picture. And it was pretty amazing. So, that being said, I'm going to get to the show. And the show is Who Am I? Who am I? Well, my name is Price Van Ray, and I was born in Springfield, Massachusetts. My parents are Willie Ray and Edith Ray, and a few years ago, my dad passed of Parkinson's. Now, a couple years ago, we had this huge pandemic. It was a COVID pandemic, so it was really horrible because when my dad passed, he didn't die of COVID. He died of Parkinson's. He had Parkinson's, and it was sad. My neighbor, Sterling, his father died of Parkinson's. And I remember he was trying to give me some good advice. He said, Price, my dad had Parkinson's, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a rough road. It's going to be a really, really rough road. And it was a rough road. You always say to yourself, your dad's always going to be there. He's going to be strong. He's going to be this. He's going to be that. But when you see your dad slowly decaying, slowly getting weaker and weaker by the day, and you got to take care of him. You got to have a heart and say, my God, this is work. And I didn't mind taking care of my dad. It hurt that I couldn't do more. That was one of the things that really stung me. And the fact that this happened during COVID, where when he was in the hospital, and the nurse, and not a hospital, he was in the veterans rehab. We could really see him because everybody was afraid that you might bring COVID in. And, it's true. You don't know what's going to happen. It was a huge pandemic. Everybody was scared. So when we had the funeral, not a lot of people showed up, but you could do it through Zoom. And that sort of stung too. So, there was a lot of unfortunate things that happened. But that was my dad. My mom, she's still alive. She was born in 1926. She's still going strong. And she's lonely because, my dad, they were married over 50 years. So that's a long time, probably over 60 years. That's a very long time to be with somebody and share your life and love someone. So you really you really got to sympathize when people lose their other half, their better half, and they say, "Oh my God, I'm so lonely. What am I going to do?" You could just try to be there for them if you can. I'll be honest. My mom, she wants me down there all the time, and unfortunately, I can't be down there every second because I have other stuff I have to do. But I was going to get her a cat. I have 3 cats, and at first she didn't want a cat. But now she's saying, yeah, I could go for a cat. She didn't want a cat because I guess one of her friends didn't like cats, and her friend would visit her. But now her friend doesn't really come by too much, so she's like, yeah, I could get a cat now. Funny thing about cats is I always say, if you get a cat, you might want to get it when it's a kitten, so you know what you're getting, because you get a big cat, you know what you're getting too, because it's already been through all the phases. And some people say it's good to get a rescue cat. My cat was one of my cats was in a litter, and my best friend was a black cat named Spooky, and he had a litter of kittens with another cat, and I took the son, who's a big black fluffy cat. So I swore though after Spooky died I would never get another cat, but Spooky's son was there, and I said, okay, I'll just take him. Then I'm after that, well, I'm sort of getting ahead of myself. So let me back up the bus because I want to tell you exactly what's going on, or I could just jump right to it. No, I think I'll just jump right to it because this is important. Years later, after I went to school, I got married and I got divorced. And when I got divorced, my 3 girls were with me. My 2 boys were with their mom. And my girls who were with me, we were homeless for a while. And so that really stung. My girls eventually lived with my parents. And I would just live right out of my car because I'd go to my parents, but at the time, my older sister and her husband, they were going through a rough patch, so they were living here too. So that's just too many people in the house. So I just was in my car. And I remember I had a membership at Planet Fitness. So I would go there and shower and shave. I didn't really exercise. I'm not going to say I exercise. You have every intention to exercise when you get a gym membership, but you never do. So even though I was homeless, didn't mean I was jobless because I had a job. So, and I remember this. I remember it just like yesterday. I remember when I would go to Planet Fitness. I'd bring a little gym bag. I'd go in the bathroom. I'd shave. I'd get myself a haircut. And when I took a shower, I would cry in the shower. I would cry every day in that shower because I felt like a failure to my kids. I felt like a failure to my family. I felt like I let my kids down because we were homeless. You don't want your kids to be homeless. I wanted to give my kids a home, a family. I wanted them to have a good environment. That was my main goal when I had kids, and to give them love and say, hey, I love you guys. This is what life is. This is a stable family, but I guess things don't really work out the way you want for reasons. And when I was in that shower, I would cry. And I would say, one day I'll get a shower that looks better than this one. And I remember singing and crying. There's this Disney song, Hercules. I can go the distance, and I would cry every day, and I'd sing that really silently to myself. But when you get divorced, you go through a rough patch sometimes, and I lost a house, I lost everything, and I just had my 3 girls with me, and trying to give them a good life and protect them, and eventually I ended up my older sister and her husband moved on, and I went to my mom's house. And it worked out good because, like I said, my dad had Parkinson's, so I was able to take care of him. And growing up, I wasn't really close to my dad. He had always wanted me to go into sports, and I'm just not into sports. That's just not me. I'm not a sports person. I like to draw. I like to listen to radio, listen to talk shows, and listen to music. I'm sure I was sort of a disappointment to my dad, but here's the thing. I remember I do children's books too, and I remember I had a book signing at a library, and my dad was there, and it's the first time he'd ever went. I had written a book called The Gay Book about a black boy growing up in the early 1970s in a black community, and he was gay, and his father found out he was gay and beat him in the first chapter viciously. And the book basically talked about and showed how people perceived black people in the black community if they were gay. It also showed how the boy went to the suburbs because this was during the segregation stuff. And he went to the suburbs where he was one of few blacks in a white school. So he had to deal with prejudice, um, bullying, homophobia. But within a span of a year, I try to show what true friendship really is. And I think it's a pretty good book. It's really good. It's heart touching. I almost didn't write the book because the first couple chapters, the father was just so mean and out of control. I said, my God, I don't know if I can finish this book. I'll have to tell you that story some other time because that book was vicious. Or I could tell you now, which I'll do that. So I had always wanted to write a book about a gay boy growing up in the 1970s. So I started the first chapter, and the father finds out he's gay. The kids find out. The boy's name is Charlie Book. So when they find out he's gay, they call him the Gay Book. So in the first few chapters, the father, I don't know anything about the interactions between a parent who was so homophobic, where it borderlines beyond hatred. So when I write books, I have to create this character in my head. I create the character. I try to figure out what the person's mindset is like. I try to pull elements of people I may know, and I create this persona, this character in my head. And I made the father character. I made him sort of over the top mean, but it's probably true to nature. And he was so vicious and so mean in the first few chapters. It was unreal. So I wanted to get my kids' input and my mom. So my kids were really supportive of it. They said, "Dad, this sounds like a really good idea. You should do it." And my mom, I didn't know how she'd take it. My mom's not homophobic or anything like that. So I knew she'd give me like an honest opinion of it. So I ended up giving her the first few chapters, and my mom looked at it, put it down. She looked at me. She put it down, looked at me, and okay, I'll look at it. So she read it. I came back down the next day. She put it on the table. I said, "Mom, what do you think?" She put it down. I said, I never knew you knew such language, because the language is really harsh. It's brutal. There's swearing. There's slurs. This is only like in the beginning of the book, though, because I'm trying to set the tone. So I'm thinking, I don't know, I guess she doesn't like it. And then she said, that little boy, she's going on and on talking about Charlie. And I'm thinking she doesn't like it. And I'm thinking, oh my God, what, okay, maybe I won't write. I don't know. Then my mom goes, do you got more? I got to see what happens to this little boy. So she liked it. So I said, okay, I'll write some more. That was probably two chapters I wrote. So I went on to write a few more chapters. And it got to the point where, when I write, I usually try to have an outline. But sometimes the story takes on a life of its own, and it goes off the outline. And this went way off the outline. And I said, I don't know. I don't know if I can do this book. Because every time I wrote the chapter, I was crying. I was crying after every chapter because it was so sad. And I didn't like that. I didn't like feeling so sad and so angry and so mad at the dad. So, I said, I'm not even going to finish it. Screw this. This is such a huge topic. And people might not even read it. So screw it. They might not even get anything out of it. So I put it down. Then maybe a month later, my mom said, how's that book coming? I said, I'm not doing it. She goes, why not? I said, the topic's really big. I said, the character is sort of mean. I said, I like to write happy books. And this book here really, really striking a nerve. She didn't say anything. So then my daughter, Azadoria, she's real supportive. She goes, Dad, how's the book coming? And I said, it's not. I talk to my kids a little rougher and differently. I could talk really clear to them. We have a different way of talking to each other. And I said, so she goes, Dad, I thought you said you were going to finish the book. I said, Dee Dee, I said, no. I said, I'm not writing it. The father's mean. The father's so disrespectful. He's so mean. He's just so mean. I said, I can't do it because every time I'm writing it, I'm crying after every chapter. It's ridiculous. And then she said, Dad, she said something like, winners never quit and quitters never win. So something like that. And I said, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. Who said that? And she goes, you did, Dad. That's what you tell us. You said never quit. I was so embarrassed. I was shocked. She actually listened to what I said, and I said, yeah. I went to my room. I laid in bed and I cried. And I thought about what she said. And she was right. She said, I shouldn't quit. I should tackle the difficult things in life. So through the tears and the reluctancy, even though I did not want to finish the gay book, I did. And it took over a year. And it was a lot of work, a lot of tears, but I was very satisfied with it. So I'm glad I did it. So now I'm rewriting it, and I'm adding a few more things to it. I think I can make it better. And my youngest daughter, she's helped me out with it, so that's really good because she's really good at books, and I know she can give it a nice little flavor to it. Yep, my daughter's standing right next to me now. I don't think she realizes I'm videotaping this too, but but that's good. So I think she can contribute something really awesome because she's really smart. I think she's really smart. So that's that, and bringing it back full circle back to my dad. So when my dad died of the Parkinson's, I had to help my mom clean up all this stuff. And I did. So I remember I had to go through his drawers, bedroom drawers, and in the drawers, I actually found one of my books, Chronicles of the Nickelback, which is another book I did. I signed it to my dad. And I said, wow, he actually kept this book. Now, my dad wasn't a big reader. He was the son of a sharecropper, so he didn't really have that kind of education in his background. I think he graduated high school at 21 because, he was a sharecropper in Mississippi, son of a sharecropper. But what really got me was I had to go through his wallet, take care of his stuff, and in his wallet, he had one of my business cards. Not sure if it was Books Happen or South Hadley Publishing, but what got me was I didn't think we weren't really close when I was growing up, and later on we were. But for him to carry around, he would only carry around important things in his wallet, not a lot of things, but to carry around the business card from my books, it made me cry because I knew that was important to him. And I knew that card meant something. And never in a million years would I have ever thought he would have thought that much of not only my book, but my card. And I guess I just wish before he died, he would have said something verbally. But like I said, he's from a different time, and a time where they didn't really, men didn't really express themselves. They didn't show their emotions. He was 92 or 93 when he died. So, who am I? My name is Price Van Ray. My mother is Edith Ray. My father is Willie Ray. And I guess I'd like to tell you who I am, but I'm still trying to find that out myself. Life is a learning experience, and we learn every day, and we grow, hopefully every day. That's all we can do in life. And that's all I got to say. Because now, it's story time. This one's called The Horse and the Butterfly. Once upon a time, there lived a sad and lonely horse. It was a long time ago that his owner had died. And now one visits our horse. No one visited him anymore. He so desperately wanted company to join the other horses he could hear in the distance. Alas, his field was fenced, and there was no escape. He would spend his days wandering sadly around his field, eating only the tastiest bits of grass until one day, everything changed for him. On that amazing, life-transforming day, everything started out as normal. It all started while he was sampling a particularly tasty patch of grass. At that moment, a butterfly came fluttering along and landed on a dandelion next to the horse. "Hello, beautiful horse," said the butterfly. Surprised and delighted that the butterfly could talk, the horse instantly began telling the butterfly all his worries. "You see," said the horse, "no one comes to visit anymore, and I'm desperately lonely and trapped in this field." "Oh, I see," said the butterfly. "That's terrible. You feel this way." Now it was just lucky for the horse that fine morning that this little butterfly was fluttering through the field. Some may even say it was a coincidence that the butterfly landed on just that exact dandelion next to the horse. For our butterfly was a wise and gentle soul and understood instantly our horse's worry and pain. "It's sad, horse, but have you lost your way?" "How do you mean?" little butterfly asked the horse. "You're a magnificent, strong, independent, but have forgotten who you are." "I know I'm a horse, little butterfly. I haven't forgotten." But with that said, the butterfly fluttered off to another flower on the other side of the field. Our horse started to follow and began thinking out loudly. What did the butterfly mean? "I've forgotten who I am. I'm a horse. I don't get it." Soon he was where the little butterfly had landed again and asked, "Little butterfly, I'm confused. Can you explain further?" "Of course," kindly replied the butterfly. "You have been stuck for a long time within the field, lonely and desperate for company. Slowly over time, this has become your normal. Then gradually you have taken this normal to become who you are." "That sounds deep, little butterfly," said the horse. "How do you mean?" "We all place prisons within our own minds. These prisons stop us from achieving our life goals and dreams. Your life alone in this field has now become a type of prison in your mind. You have forgotten you're a horse." And with this, little butterfly fluttered off to another flower. "Oh, I'm still confused," thought the horse as he wandered over to where the butterfly had once again settled. "What prison in my mind?" Soon our horse once again where the butterfly had landed and asked her to explain some more. "I would like to tell you a little story to help explain," said the little butterfly. "Oh, I like stories," replied the horse. "Then I shall begin. The common house flea has the ability to jump 200 times its own weight. Now, if you place a glass cup over some flea, something interesting happens. When the flea now jumps, he keeps hitting his head on the top of the cup. After a few jumps, the flea realizes what's happening and will just adjust his jump height accordingly. The flea now jumps to just under the roof of the cup. When you remove the glass, our poor flea is now conditioned into jumping at that new height. He has learned from experience that if he jumps any higher, he will hit his head and get hurt. He has created his very own glass ceiling of a kind prison in his own mind. This is the prison of our minds. We all create them, and yours, horse, is this field. You have forgotten you're a horse and what horses do. But with this last comment, the butterfly flew out of sight, and our horse was left alone in the field once again. For a moment, our horse felt sad. He was left alone again. Gradually, though, as he started thinking about what the little butterfly had said, he suddenly realized he was a horse. "I'm a horse," he exclaimed, "and horses run and jump and play. I have forgotten who I was. I really had made my own prison in my mind. This field with its fence around me had become my prison, and I'm a horse, and horses run and jump and play." And with this, our horse ran as fast as his legs could take him, straight at the fence. In one great jump, he cleared it and landed on the other side. He never even glanced back. He just kept running and running to the sound of the other horses in the distance. Our horse was now free. I love that story. And I want to thank you all for joining me today. If you enjoyed this podcast, you can download any of my past podcasts morning and night and hear it all over the internet. It would be great if you could hear what I have to say. So that's going to bring us to the end of our show. I want to thank all of you for listening today. It's been a great pleasure. And don't forget to be nice and talk nice to everyone you see. It's free. Don't be a jerk, and remember this one last bit of advice. Tomorrow is never promised, so don't go to bed angry at your child or anyone you love. And before you go to bed tonight, hug your child and tell them, "I will love you forever, Dad." Hey, everybody, thanks for joining me here today. Let's do it again. I'll see you next time here on my show. Be well, be kind, be back, peace, and I will definitely see you later. Thanks for joining me today. Have a good one.